Let's talk about listening to your intuition. Intuition is a divine inner voice within us. Intuition can come as physical sensation, like the butterflies that you feel in your stomach, which you may identify as your gut feeling. Those feelings are actually a result of feeling the millions of nerve cells in your stomach. Many people feel, right, their intuition as a physical response to their intuition. Other people might experience their intuition as impressions or thoughts that randomly come into their mind, most often out of the blue, without context. Your intuition connects your body, mind, and spirit. It guides and directs you. And if we allow it, it can be said that intuition is our divine guidance. So if we allow it, it will direct us. It will forewarn us. It will give us insight into the present and into the future. Okay? It can be said that intuition is our connection to our higher self. And it can be said that intuition comes from our guardian angels, speaking directly to us. There are those whose intuition appears as inner knowingness. Let me know in the comments, how does your intuition speak to you first? A gut feeling? The gut feeling is your brain. It is a brain. The gut is another brain. Your heart is a brain. So does your intuition speak to you through your gut first? Okay. Do you have intuition as thought impressions? Or is your intuition an inner knowingness? Let me know. Things go much easier in our life when we listen and follow our intuition. However, we often ignore this inner voice of intuition because it can be hard for us to trust and surrender to it. It's not uncommon to second guess our intuition due to our life experiences, the pain and the hurt around them, the choices we've made, the choices we didn't make, that instill those untrusting patterns of self-doubt. So let me ask you, are you aware of a situation that you didn't follow your guidance of intuition? Let me know. I'm going to come back in and answer some of those questions that I've already answered. All right. Arvashi, good morning, dear one. I loved talking to you on the phone a couple of days ago. Hi, Lori. Robin, you have gut feelings. You would feel your gut before you think. You know what? I love that. That means you're a feeler. You feel your intuition first. That's super insightful that you know that. And then it's more of an inner knowing after that. But your gut is what screams at you, Robin. Not very, Beth, you're not very connected to it. You don't often know or trust it. Okay, we're going to talk about that. All right. And that is, as I've said, it's almost always, okay, because of things that have happened to you in your life. And it doesn't mean, I'm going to talk about it as if we're going to learn through these experiences. But oftentimes when we've made a decision, remember that things involve two people almost always. All right. And so when you're in relationships, anybody, where it doesn't work out, it doesn't mean you should have never been in the relationship. But oftentimes we take it as this all or nothing thing, and we think that we can't trust ourselves anymore. And that's not the case. We all have a divine guidance within us, and we can reteach ourselves, learn to teach ourselves how to trust it more. I promise, Beth, that you can too. All right? Now, you're welcome, dearest. Okay, so keep speaking to that. Are you aware of when you did not trust your intuition? I'm curious. Okay, I can rattle off a whole bunch of times I did not trust my intuition. Okay, like all sorts of them. Okay, it's 10 o'clock in the morning. I didn't sleep well the night before. I was in a hotel. Didn't sleep well the night before, but I had a time commitment to make on the other end of my destination. I was driving, okay? And I had a gut feeling, okay, that I should not be driving, but it's 10 o'clock in the morning. What happens? A half hour later, I fall asleep at the wheel. So we can include someone else. This time it was my stuff. I didn't listen to it, but we're going to talk about these things, okay? Because in order to learn to trust and follow your intuition, you need to first develop the awareness to when you ignored it, like that example, as that is the process of developing your intuition. It's a process, okay? And we have to learn from the mistakes we make. We can become so influenced, attracted to, and even overwhelmed from all outside voices in the world, such as parents, friends, partner, coworkers, and anyone that influences our judgment, right? Even what we see on social media, the news, or hear on the radio. Those outer voices, okay, can become quite deafening. They drown out our own voice, and we begin to second guess our own thoughts and intuition. We ignore them. We ask other people their opinions. So let me ask you, can you relate? Do you see this happening in your life, where the outside voices deafen your own inner voice? Let me know. Okay. Yavashi, you get a gut feeling. Most of the time, you ignore it. I'm going to challenge you on this, Yavashi, okay? You're aware of when you ignored it, but I do not think, dear one, that you ignore it all the time. I think you don't recognize when you do listen to it because you're heightenedly aware of when you don't. Now, when we follow our intuition, it's something that happens so naturally for us, right? It just seems that things are going in the right direction. Sometimes we will follow our intuition. We don't know why we're following it, and we don't know what would have gone wrong or differently if we hadn't followed it. Okay? That's why it's important to be aware of when we don't follow it. Okay, because it's through that learning experience that we gain more insight. All right. Hi, Ron. Robin, you can relate, especially in regards to parents and professional choices in the past. Yep. And keep in mind, parents want to help us for the most part, right? They want to protect us and they want to give us guidance based on their life and their experiences. And it reaches, but everybody, Robin, you, me, everyone, at some point in our life, we have to own our own life. And our decisions and how we experience life are going to be different. There might be some similarities, right? But we're going to have to make decisions that are going to be different. So I can relate. I have been there. I have. Okay, Lori, twice I ignored the voices in my head, and both times I've told the voices that I wanted to do what I wanted, and both times I was in a car accident. Been there, okay? LOL, now you listen to your inner voice. And do you know what is beautiful about you sharing this, Lori, is Everybody's been in this situation. Maybe it didn't cause a car accident, right? Right? Um, but everybody, okay, everybody has to learn from not getting it right, because nobody in their life has made the right decision all the time in following that inner guidance. Nobody, all right? um, Christ. Okay, if we want to follow, if we want to say someone has, but we're not that individual, and we are here to learn, right? How we're spoken to, how we're guided, and how to follow our own inner voice. Especially when you think about it, intuition is more important now than any other time in our life, due to the things going on in the world around us, politics, international things, and even those things happening close at home. We have to have that internal knowingness, that internal intuition to do what's best for us in our life. Okay? So thank you for sharing, everyone. Let me go back in here. Another reason why we may shy away from following our inner voice is our fear. The fear of failing, or the fear of being judged for doing things differently, a different way, doing something different than a perceived way. And we also believe others will perceive it as being wrong. So let me ask you, do you ever have that fear? The fear of being judged, or the fear of doing it wrong? Do you ever make a different decision based on fear than what you originally felt was right for you? I have. Let me answer. Let me know if you have. Okay. I'll come back in. All right. Sometimes it takes a hot minute for those things to come through. To step forward in that decision and put yourself out on the line, right, above all else, can be very intimidating. But our intuition is what's best for us, and only us. It always serves our highest good. And while it's challenging to lean in and listen, give yourself some grace. If you didn't listen correctly, in the past, I promise that was part of developing your gift of intuition, as it is through your mistakes that comes our wisdom. And what's great about this process is it's something you can learn and develop at any time in your life. Look back and see everything the lesson of trusting, right, is about. And what happens when we don't trust, and what it has taught you. It will elevate your experience by teaching the wisdom of what doesn't work to help you figure out what does. Have you ever thought of an individual out of the blue that you haven't thought about in a while? You pick up the phone and you call them in that moment. And you're aware of why you called them most of the time. Sometimes you're not until later. They might tell you later how grateful they were for that call. But have you ever experienced that moment when you didn't reach out and you become aware later why you should have? I have. And I didn't get the opportunity to connect with them again because they passed away. That's a far extreme, right? It could be you call someone you haven't spoke to in a while, and they're going through something traumatic in their life. And just having somebody think about them lifts them to a point, that they feel better that day. Reaching out via text or sending them a message on Facebook does not have to be a long conversation. It's an example. Have you ever had the impression to go home a different way from your normal routine of traveling home? I have. Sometimes I have no idea why I did. And there have been those few times that I call the thank you from the universe to find that out, that I find out that there's a bad accident on the road, right? I either could have been in that accident, which I'll never know, or I could have been held up in hours of traffic if I had gone home that way. We don't always know when we make a decision to follow our intuition what would have happened if we had not. But we almost always know when we didn't, don't we? That's a tender mercy from the universe to know why. Okay? Let these experiences be a guiding light for you. Your intuition is like unexpected wisdom whispering in your ears when you're not even looking for it. One thing I want to emphasize is that there is no one more important to trust than yourself. Not anyone. But sometimes we lose trust in ourselves after we make a mistake, the wrong decision, and especially when we think hindsight is 2020. And I promise you hindsight is not 2020 because we could have made the decision differently in the past. I'm talking about a big life choice, like who we partner with and things like that. And we think it would have turned out different. We don't know what that other choice would have been. Now, I'm taking intuition in a different step there. And it's around the stories we create. I'm not talking about that particularly right now. I'm talking about the things that we can choose to do in those moments, okay? And when we are aware that we made those, when we should have listened to that moment of intuition, that's what I'm focusing on, right? We can lose trust in ourselves after we make the mistake, like I said, or after someone criticizes us. A parent says, well, why did you do that? Why did you make that decision? A friend says, what were you thinking? Right? Or if you're in business, a team member says, well, we should have done it this way. Everybody has the right to their own opinion. But unfortunately, then what often happens is we become more prone to internalizing and criticizing our own decisions after making them, right? We'll automatically start to criticize ourselves. We'll make it, and then we'll look for what was wrong in that decision, looking for the fault or the failure in that. I call it a pattern of self-abuse in the far extreme, okay? But it causes us to second guess, and then it makes us indecisive, right? And it's very hard to make a decision when we're indecisive. Accepting yourself unconditionally means getting rid of the negative thoughts about yourself and the self-criticism after making a mistake. Start by keeping a close eye on your inner voice and how you react to your actions. The actions you take and the actions you don't take. In those thoughts, are your thoughts kind or mean? Are they accepting or critical? Connect with where you feel your intuition first in your body. Is it your gut? Do you get that gut, that thought that comes to you, or that just know that it has to be a certain way? It sounds like knowingness is like the almighty gift, right? Not necessarily. They're all very powerful. The gift of knowingness that causes us to believe that we're always right, therefore our opinion is always the one that needs to be followed. Our opinion and judgment, okay, can override our intuition and they get very closely confused. One of these is not better than another, all right? Learn how your body speaks to you. The gut response, right, where it can become out of balance is when we have so much fear in our lives that we let anxiety speak to our intuition. Anxiety, there is an illusion with anxiety. And if you are somebody that their body speaks anxiety, there's a lot of fear in there. And so you have to teach that gut response, right? That anxiety is not your intuition. It's a human response to nervousness. It's because of the fear in the amygdala, okay? So it can get confusing. Yeah. And our thoughts can get confusing because are they the thoughts of others and the surrounding world around us, right? Is it our ego mind? Keep in mind, the ego always wants to help you. Sometimes it gets confused and but it's always wanting to protect. With each one of these gifts of intuition, it's like there's a yin and a yang to it. And you have to learn how to interpret it and move through the illusion of what the shadow of it is. Okay? Learn how your body feels in its intuition and get to know what your intuition is like so you can easily identify the truth of it and the illusion. Okay? And in that, you will be able to follow it, make good decisions, and trust it. And your intuition will guide you. The more you practice, the easier it gets. The more you acknowledge and you take that split second and look at what you could have decided, right? What making the wrong decision taught you, and you pause and you think about that. You won't make that decision again. Okay? When you feel it, wait, breathe, slow down, learn from it. When you can accept yourself unconditionally, you can trust yourself unconditionally. That builds confidence. It builds trust in yourself by breaking the habit of questioning your decisions. So the next time you make a choice, stick with it. Take actions you feel called to make, and you will live within your soul purpose on a daily basis. Even if they don't work out, it's okay. Why? Because you're going to learn from the experience. Your inner voice of intuition is one of the most powerful gifts, the most powerful influence in that toolbox of life. They are messages from the soul, from your higher self, your own inner guidance, your guardian angels, your ancestors. As intuition comes from different perspectives in life, okay, different ways, but it always knows what's best. And as Carolyn Joy Adams says, learn to trust it, trust your intuition, and in good time, answers to all you seek to know will come and the path will open before you. Isn't that beautiful? And with that, I will end and come back in to chat with you. All right. Hi, Greg. Okay, Beth, fears. Yep, fears are very real. Fears cause us to hesitate in life. They cause us to not have confidence in ourselves, right? And they will create a lack of trust to follow our intuition. Absolutely. Hello, Diane. You're learning to check your thoughts. You're learning to check my thoughts or feelings. I'm more confident. That's excellent. Excellent, excellent. I am looking for examples, and there must be many, but I am aware of fear influencing my judgment. Robin, yeah, I get it, right? And we do that, right? And Robin, you do that, okay? Now, maybe not so much now in your life, because I think you've learned a lot of stuff in your life. I feel you very wise, Robin. But there's been times in your life, okay, where fear has probably stopped you from stepping into more in your life or from making certain decisions. It doesn't mean you did it wrong, Robin, okay? But it has taught you, right? I believe you are aware that fear is an illusion. We can always move through the fear. It's not comfortable ever. I believe fear in the past, a shorter way for me to say that, dear one, is fear in the past has controlled a lot of the decisions you made and the actions you didn't take. But I don't believe you live in fear the same way right now. Could be wrong, but I don't believe you live in fear the same way. Okay? All right, let me know. Okay? Hi, Greg. Going home a different way, Robin, right? And you find yourself doing it. I do it all the time. I agree with you. Is there a difference between intuition and discernment? No. We can speak to it the same way. Discernment is knowing truth from wrong, right? Truth from the lie. But so is intuition. It's the same thing. To me, it is. Okay. I could probably write content to speak to it differently, but at the end, it will all come back down to the same thing. Okay. Discernment is being able to feel through the truth of something and what's right for you. Intuition is following that inner voice, how that speaks to you, and knowing if it's right or wrong for you. See the similarity? Okay. Beth, you're very indecisive. Yeah, I can see that, Beth. You're indecisive. Beth, you've been a perfectionist in your life, dear one. Okay. And you hold yourself to a high level of accountability. You've been very competent in your life, very capable of doing a lot of things and taking care of things. It's a gift you have, okay? I understand. And now it's just turned into now that because of this perfectionism, you don't want to make a mistake. You don't want to do it wrong. You don't want, here's a biggie for you, Beth. You don't want to waste time. Okay? That doesn't mean you make use of all your time. That means you hate wasting time because you didn't make the right decision. You just don't want to be, you don't want to be going down those wrong paths anymore. I understand. I do. But I also know you're at a different place in your life. You have more serenity and calmness around you. And it's time that you feel more confident to make decisions. Okay? And you gotta get rid of that illusion that you have to make the perfect decision every time. I'm going to tell you, let me speak to this for a hot second here. This is how the universe works. Wants us to make a decision and we make a decision. So the decision moves us to here. Now the universe says, now I'm going to take you here, over here. It doesn't mean you could have gone from here to here. We have to take it to here in order to get to here or over here. We have to be in flow because life will take us in different directions. Let me know if that helps you, Beth. Okay. Yeah, Diane, we use intuition in what to say or not to say, right? And then oftentimes, have you ever been in the situation where you thought you said too much? Right? Because this is where it gets really tricky. And this is a big learning experience. Because we know something doesn't mean we have to share it. Because we know something doesn't mean the other person's ready to hear it. Because everybody's on their own life journey and in their own process. And just because we know it doesn't mean we're supposed to share it. That's just another level to following your intuition and receiving guidance. Yep, thank you for bringing that up. When there is anxiety, Robin, you say, definitely this seems to override intuition. Isn't that true? Oh my gosh, I can speak to that forever, right? Anxiety just throws us off. It causes us to think instantly. In fight and flight, everyone, anxiety is meant to warn us of impending danger. Think about your dog or a cat. When there's something around, what do? They're on high alert, right? They instantly hear it, feel it, and they sense it. They sense it, they smell it. Well, we humans aren't that different. Okay, while our hearing may not be as acute and our smelling, right, or our gift of eyesight might not be the same way. Oh, right, we have that inner sense that's highly developed. So what happens is our anxiety shoots up and our central nervous system becomes awakened and all the cells in our body. But you see, this also happens, okay, due to trauma in our life. And trauma is different for everyone. There's no judgment on on trauma. Everybody experiences it differently and it impacts us differently. It moves through us or it stays within us. All of it is individual. But anxiety, have you ever woken up in anxiety? You're not thinking anything, and all of a sudden you wake up. I've had clients who wake up in the middle of the night in a panic attack and they don't know why. Okay? It's the nervous system being out of balance. All right, it's the amygdala being wound up in fear. And so it's in dream time where we're supposed to be processing fears, all right, it starts to live in them as reality in the amygdala and it wakes you up in an automatic response. Yeah. If you start to feel anxiety and you're not sure what it's about, pause and say, is there danger around me? Probably not. Okay. And then you say, body, this is an illusion. And take a deep breath and breathe through it. Okay. It's a process to help you teach yourself. All right. Okay. I hope that helped. Breathe, wait, slow down. Exactly, Robin. Exactly. There's always a rerun. There's always a replay, Deborah. In fact, I never take it down. All replays live in the video section of Facebook up in the top, but they also live in the feed. But this will be up. I will pin it to the top, and then oftentimes what you have to do is come back in and refresh that arrow circle bar up at the top in your search bars. Refresh or refresh Facebook, and it will load for you. But I never take it down. It stays in replay mode from the moment I stop. It will be there, love. I'm glad you brought it up. Let's see. Amanda, hello, Amanda. You get confused on knowing if it's your knowing or if it's going, wait a minute, hold on a minute. If it's my knowing or if I'm going from my fear. Fear is 99% of the time not truth. Okay? Fear is almost always based on something that's happened in the past. So see, it'll have that, here's the mass of the story. And it will always have a thread of truth coming through this mass of the story. So when something comes into our life that contains anything that could resemble that thread of truth from an old story, we will go into fear. Okay, keep that in mind, Amanda. All right. Yeah. Kelly, this is so resonant. Thank you. You're very welcome. You're very welcome. Okay. Kelly, you're finding that you get wiped out physically and emotionally from having to deal with toxic clients. Oh my gosh. In my course, the Soul Awakening Method, where I teach people my method, I teach you how to work through all this. It's a process that your body can become so natural at. Okay. Let's see. It's extremely rare that it happens, but when it does, you get wiped out and you have to rest. Yeah. Well, first of all, you have to remind yourself, Kelly, in a nutshell, and this is just to be mentally aware of, is in a nutshell, it's not your truth. And so remind your body that it isn't yours. But there is a truth here. When you take on, first of all, this tells me you're an empath. All healers are an empath. Okay. Most service professionals are empaths. Empaths are your ability to sense, feel, and know, right, what someone else is going through, whether you're having a conversation with them or not. So if you are having a conversation with them, what can happen is that vibrational frequency that they're feeling can become part of you. It literally takes 30 seconds for the subconscious to forget that it's not yours. okay? And then it will take it on and it will own it as your own. So you need to clear that because it isn't yours, and you'll feel a lot better, okay? I hope that helps, Kelly. You're welcome, Deborah. Beth, I'm so grateful you're finding value, and you please listen to it again. All right. The fear of illusion. You never do that. Well, you will now, and you will think of me, dear one. You will think of me, okay? Fear is an illusion. Anxiety is never intuition. I'm saying that anxiety is 99% not intuition. Have you ever been warned of something through anxiety when it was your intuition? Okay. It usually doesn't come before your awareness that you're in danger. Okay. Let's say there's a fire in your house, right? Usually you smell the smoke, you know that there's a fire, then your intuition helps you get out of it. And the anxiety serves of a purpose because it gives you the adrenaline to make that fast decision. Okay. Anxiety in decisions is not our true intuition, all right? It's the fear of making the same mistake again or a similar mistake, the fear of getting it wrong, and perfectionism by far brings this about, okay? All right, dear ones, let me see if there's anybody else and then I won't keep you. Kelly, you're welcome, dear one. You are welcome, you're welcome. And it's the soul awakening method. I am planning on doing a live event, okay, where I'm going to teach part of this method, okay, and it will be a full day live event, all right, and it's coming up, okay, probably in the next month, and I will make sure that my private Facebook group is invited. All right, I will, especially now that you're bringing it up. It helps me understand that in this group that I love, this tribe, right, there are people who might really want to add this to their toolbox in their profession, or there might be those of you that want to learn it yourself. So thank you for asking. All right, the replay will be live. Continue to make comments. You know I will answer your comments or any questions you have. All right, I'll see you next week. Bye-bye.